Welcome to another session of Healthcare Authority Eligibility Updates. We thank you for joining us today to learn about Authorized Representatives. During today's training, we will be referring to Authorized Representatives as AREPs. This training is designed to provide navigators, certified application counselors, volunteer assisters, and providers with an understanding of the purpose and responsibilities of an AREP. Please note that an AREP is not the same as a navigator, certified application counselor, or other application assister. An AREP typically functions more as a case manager with ongoing responsibilities, whereas the functions of a navigator or certified application counselor typically end with the mechanics of the enrollment, re-enrollment, and change reporting process. Today we'll cover the following topics pertaining to AREPs: definition of an AREP, their responsibilities, how to designate an AREP, when acting on behalf of an organization, how and when to terminate an AREP, guidance when there is a power of attorney or legal guardian, and finally, we'll leave you with resources for any future questions about AREPs. Let's get started. The AREP acts on behalf of the client, but only as it pertains to applying for and maintaining Apple Health eligibility. They must be an adult and be someone outside of the assistance unit. The agency can only give out information if it's needed for eligibility purposes. For example, an AREP may call and ask if we received the medical documents that were requested for the AEM or Alien Emergency Medical Program. The Healthcare Authority worker reviews the record and can see that AEM cancer treatment was just approved. They can tell the AREP that we have everything we need as AEM was just approved from this date to this date. Another example might be an AREP calling to see the status of an AEM application. After reviewing the record, they find that the application was denied by clinical staff. The HCA staff person can tell the AREP that the application was denied and why it was denied, using the language that was provided on the denial notice. This might include telling the AREP that the client didn't have a qualifying emergent condition or that the medical evidence was inconclusive. It also might include telling the AREP what information was missing and how long they have to submit the missing information to the agency in order for the application to be reconsidered. An AREP may sign an application on the applicant's behalf, complete and submit a renewal form, receive copies of the applicant or beneficiary's notices and other communications from the agency, and act on behalf of the applicant or beneficiary in all eligibility matters with the agency. The AREP's authority depends on what the applicant or beneficiary has authorized the AREP to do. A client can designate any individual or organization they choose to be an AREP. An organization can never designate themselves as an AREP. When an organization is acting as an AREP, they should have a pretty good idea of whether or not the client is accurately reporting their income and other relevant information. An AREP must act responsibly in all matters. Intentionally underreporting income to qualify for insurance coverage is insurance fraud and may result in severe penalties. An AREP is expected to ensure that changes are reported timely and accurately as required. If an AREP is an organization, the organization must adhere to all relevant state and federal laws concerning conflicts of interest and confidentiality of information. An AREP can share any information they want with the agency, but the agency can only share with the AREP information that is necessary for determining, maintaining, or communicating Apple Health eligibility. Pregnancy coverage, AEM, breast and cervical cancer treatment program, and Take Charge are the only Apple Health programs where actual medical information may be involved in communicating health care coverage to an AREP. Please keep in mind that the agency can only share what is needed to determine or communicate eligibility. If an AREP calls the agency inquiring about a pregnant woman's coverage, the agency can disclose when coverage begins and ends, but cannot disclose the estimated due date. If an AREP calls about a penned letter for verification of a Social Security number and they ask about the Social Security number on file, the agency will not disclose the Social Security number. If it is not a valid number, we will tell you so, but we will not disclose the actual number even if it is not valid. Specifically, an AREP may obtain information needed to determine the applicant's or recipient's eligibility for Apple Health programs and obtain information related to Apple Health coverage such as certification periods, renewals, and changes in coverage. Specifically, an AREP may obtain information as to why Apple Health coverage was denied or terminated, and receive letters, renewal forms, and Provider One cards if the client has authorized the sharing of such correspondence. The agency will only disclose information that is needed to determine or maintain eligibility. The agency may request a Social Security number, but there would never be a reason to disclose that Social Security number to the AREP or the client. The agency can disclose that a child is aging out of Apple Health for kids when it is relevant, but there wouldn't be a reason to disclose the actual birth date. The same applies to an aged client. The agency can say that a client is not eligible for Magi-based Apple Health because the client is age 65 or older, but there wouldn't be a reason to disclose their actual date of birth. An AREP should know the client's address, so this information should not be disclosed. The agency can disclose a place of employment, but only if it is relevant to a request for verification of income from a specific employer. For example, a post-eligibility review may indicate a need for income verification for Walmart. The agency can tell the AREP that it needs income verification for Walmart, but it would not disclose any other places of employment that may show up in the record. As mentioned in the previous slide, a pregnant woman's estimated due date would not be disclosed, but the agency will disclose when coverage begins and ends. There are many ways to designate an authorized representative. That includes online through Health Plan Finder at www.wahealthplanfinder.org. This includes applications, renewals, and reporting changes. Using the HCA 18001 application for healthcare coverage for Magi and qualified health plan coverage, HCA 14-430 paper application for confidential teen pregnancy coverage, HCA 18005 application for long-term care, aged, blind, disabled coverage, and the DSHS 14-532 Authorized Representative Form, which is a shared DSHS Healthcare Authority form. Please note that the quickest and easiest way for an individual to designate an authorized representative is to go online at www.wahealthplanfinder.org and update their application accordingly. The agency accepts the following methods for the designation of an authorized representative: electronic, including telephonically recorded signatures. Signatures submitted through the Health Benefit Exchange are telephonically recorded. Signatures submitted through the Healthcare Authority can be telephonically submitted. Applications, renewals, and changes submitted through the Health Plan Finder are electronic. Handwritten signatures transmitted by fax or other electronic transmissions. A signature is always required, so the agency cannot accept a verbal designation unless it is a telephonically recorded or submitted signature. Healthcare Authority does accept telephonically submitted signatures. If a person is designating an AREP where a telephonically recorded or electronic signature cannot be obtained, they must complete the DSHS HCA 14-532 AREP form. AREPs must be designated at the request of the client. An organization or an individual representing an organization cannot designate themselves as an AREP in any event. Once an individual with an organization has been designated as an AREP, others within that organization may act as the individual's AREP. For example, if an individual at Cardin Outreach is designated as an AREP for an Apple Health recipient, any employee within Cardin Outreach is authorized to act as an AREP. Let's talk about divisions within large organizations acting as AREPs. For example, King County Public Health is a very large organization, and while any employee from the Access and Outreach Department may be authorized to act as an AREP on behalf of the organization, individuals from other departments within their organization are not authorized to represent the organization as an AREP. Please note that in most situations, the address of the client should be at the client's actual physical or mailing address. This will ensure that year-end tax documents will be mailed to the client. An exception to this would be when a homeless client uses your organization as their mailing address. Next, let's discuss the termination of an AREP. The client or the AREP may terminate the AREP designation at any time by notifying the agency verbally or in writing. AREP designation terminates automatically when the client dies. The AREP may continue representing the deceased if they are one of the following: the executor or administrator of the deceased's estate, or legally authorized by the courts or by state law to act on the behalf of the deceased or his estate. Guardianship and power of attorney assigned while the client is living ends after the client is deceased. In a situation where there is a pending application for health care coverage and the client passes away, or if a self-designated AREP applies on behalf of a deceased person. In either case, the agency will not honor the AREP designation, since the AREP designation terminates when the client dies. Once the client is deceased, only the executor or administrator of the deceased's estate or a court-appointed guardian can act on their behalf. The designated AREP may very well be that person, but they can't move forward with the application unless they verify that they have one of these other statuses. A court-appointed legal guardian with authority to make financial decisions on a person's behalf is that person's AREP. A completed AREP form is not required. Verification of legal guardianship is required. If someone has legal guardianship, they must provide verification to the agency. An agreement creating power of attorney that grants decision-making authority regarding the person's financial interactions with the agency establishes the power of attorney as the AREP. A completed AREP form is not required. Verification of power of attorney is required. Again, if someone has power of attorney, they must provide verification to the agency. The power of attorney must sign the client's name on the health plan finder application because the head of household and the client must be the same. We have now touched on all of the main points surrounding the rules and responsibilities of an AREP. The next few slides are a recap of the key points we have just discussed. Remember that an AREP acts on behalf of the household for the purposes of establishing and maintaining Apple Health eligibility. There are multiple ways to designate an AREP. Organizations cannot designate themselves as an AREP. This must be requested by the client. Either party may terminate the AREP designation. Legal guardians and power of attorney designations may both serve as AREPs once verification has been provided. An AREP typically functions more as a case manager with ongoing responsibilities, whereas the functions of a navigator or certified application counselor typically end with the mechanics of the enrollment, re-enrollment, and change reporting process. An individual or organization can only be designated as an AREP by an Apple Health applicant or recipient. You will find additional resources listed on this slide for more detailed information on authorized representatives, including the Washington Administrative Code, the Apple Health Medicaid Manual, and a list of your local healthcare authority area representatives for any additional questions. Thank you for joining us to learn about authorized representatives.